my Twitch name is TGH_plays. All right, so we're getting started here. Yeah, this is interesting. I've actually never seen this version. It's not official. It's very strange that he's playing on a modded version. I'm assuming it's just to appease the audience a little bit better. All right, so a very important part of this game, especially in a glitchless route, is mashing away text. And the way you mash away text is actually pretty interesting. There are 4 buttons on the keyboard you can use to mash away text. You have Enter, Z, X, and Shift. X and Shift skip the text, whereas Enter and Z advance the text. So the most efficient way to mash text is to basically mash in a cycle, so that you press X, Z, Shift, and Enter in that order. And that's just the most efficient way of mashing. He's talking to the dummy here. It's a little bit faster than sparing or running away. Or you can't spare the dummy, excuse me. Or it's a little bit faster than running away. He's going to be killing this frogget. That was an incredibly lucky damage roll. Wow. I feel like that shouldn't have killed the frogget. So as soon as this room right here is over, this long hallway room, he's going to immediately start grinding for enemy kills. And the most optimal route involves killing 13 in the first 2 rooms. So he's going to be getting either a frogget or a Whimsin encounter. You want Whimsins, because Whimsins are one-shot kills. Not only are they one-shot kills, actually, but you can mash the kills away. So it's extremely fast to get Whimsins. This category is very RNG heavy, unlike the regular neutral or pacifist routes, which have about 30 seconds overall of RNG. This category, the encounter mobs that you get, and so there's a Whimsin, that's good. So what encounter mobs you get really speed up or slow down the gameplay. Yeah, so he's switching back and forth between these rooms. He's doing something called wall humping, which... Wall humping doesn't speed up the rate of encounters, but instead, it just makes the game think that you're moving, and the way that encounters actually work is... the game thinks you're moving, and your step count will increase as you move, and you're assigned a random number between 2 other random numbers, which is your step count, which you'll receive the encounter at. So it's just a slightly more optimal way of getting encounters than moving back and forth, per se, or for instance. And for the person who asks, I know that it's unofficial because there's only one official language patch for Undertale, and that's English. So he's getting really good RNG. I think he's gotten 4 wins now. I haven't been keeping close track, but he needs to kill 13 here. He doesn't need to, but it's more optimal to. Yeah, this RNG is pretty ridiculous right now.
What's the reason for the grinding right now?
Well, he needs to kill a certain amount of enemies in each area. So he needs to kill 20 here. He needs to kill 20 overall before leaving the ruins, or else his genocide mode will be completely aborted and he won't be able to finish the run as intended.
I see. Is there any reason for this particular spot that he's at right here, that particular wall that he's bumping?
Yeah, so each room in the ruins gives you a different encounter, like a different set of encounter mobs. So once you get deeper into the ruins, you'll start to get double and triple encounters with different enemies as well, or one different enemy. But you want these 2 enemies because they're the quickest once they're at a low level, or once they're at a low love, excuse me. And then once you move on, and encounters become less frequent, which happens. Like your step, I didn't mention that your step count increases as you go on. So the more enemies you kill, the more you have to grind, or the longer you have to grind for enemies in each room. So once that step count increases, once that required step count increases, you want to move on and get the double and triple encounters. So I'm assuming this is his 13th encounter there, so that's his 13th kill. So he's moving on. Carefully avoiding the holes in the floor there that you can't see. Okay, so there are 5 different encounters you can get in this room. You can either get single Molt Small. Molt Smalls are kind of cumbersome in this run because they always take 2 hits. They're sort of like froggets. Yes, so this is a single Molt Small. That's actually pretty bad RNG. Single Molt Small is the worst encounter you can get in this part. They just take a long time to kill, plus it's only 1 kill. You can also get double Molt Smalls, triple Molt Smalls, a Frogget Whimsin combination, or a double Frogget combination. Ideally, after 13 kills, you'd get 2 Frogget Whimsins and a triple Molt Small to get 20 kills exactly. So this isn't particularly great RNG that he's getting. So he'll have 16 kills after this. And you'll notice too that okay, so Fraggots have exactly 30 HP. You'll notice that he'll try to optimize his damage rolls, because it takes it obviously it takes the cursor a while to move over to the center where he needs it to be. So if possible, he'll try to so say he does 20 damage to a Frogget. So say there he did 23 damage. He's gonna try, he can honestly mash this part. He can just mash to kill. So he could have done 7 damage exactly, which is lower than the lowest possible roll. So he could have mashed that away. So I believe he's at 9. He's either 18 or 19. So he's pretty close to finishing off the ruins.
So for those who haven't played this before, when you go into that battle screen, what is that UFO-shaped picture that's below the enemies? What's that doing for you?
The UFO shape.
Like right there, this has got the little line that comes across it and then stops.
Oh, so that's just the fight bar. Right. So yeah, that's just like the sprite that's used to depict like center hit. So like basically that's like the meter where you want to stop it as close to the center as possible.
All right, he stops it early sometimes. Is that just because you don't need to be all the way to the center, so just for speed purposes you stop early? But for some of them, he lets it go all the way to the center. Is that just because he really does need a center hit?
Yes.
Okay.
For the most part, yes. Okay, so now he has his kill count. And so he's getting text. He's getting like empty encounters basically that say "but nobody came," and so that is the indication that he has met his kill count. He still needs to hit the switches though in order to get through. So that's the end of the ruins, basically, up until Toriel. Toriel will just be a one-shot kill, since he's in genocide mode right now. So because he killed 20 enemies in the ruins, which initiated genocide mode, he'll be able to one-shot 3 out of the 4 bosses. And for those of you who are curious, this actually is not the category that is going to be run at HDQ. HDQ will not be a glitchless category. Yeah, so he just one-shots Toriel. He does a massive damage roll to Toriel there to finish her off.
How much faster is this run with glitches?
With glitches, the neutral run is actually a completely different route. So you only kill one thing. I'm actually glad you asked that because I forgot to mention this. In the ordinary neutral route, you actually don't kill anything except for one enemy in Hotland, just for a little bit of optimization. But in this run, you kill literally everything, pretty much up until Hotland. Yeah, so in the regular neutral route, it's actually faster. It's actually about 8 minutes faster to not kill anything and use a punch card than it is to kill everything and not use the punch card, basically.
Some credits 12 minutes into the run.
Yeah. And end time. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's just a little... So consider the ruins like an introduction. Now that you've finished the introduction, now the game actually begins. I don't know, that's what I take that as. I'm not sure what that ruins time would have translated to on an English version. Probably about the same. I'd imagine the Toriel death went a little bit quicker because the text goes by really slow there. And the text is undoubtedly more condensed in this version. So Snowden is going to be very much the same. So he's going to be doing something at the box here. He's going to be withdrawing the stick. Excuse me. He's going to be withdrawing the tough glove there. So he withdrew the tough glove, and he equipped it right away. And the tough glove is a much better weapon than the stick, which is what he was using. He was using the stick, which is basically the default enemy. Excuse me, the default weapon that you start with.
A little bit of a cutscene, getting some plot here.
Yeah. Oh, he got the phone call. That's a 1 in 10 chance. Dependent on fun value. So he needs to kill 16 in Snowden. He's already killed 2. But the mini bosses here don't count. So Doggo, for instance, doesn't count towards his kills. And this next kill he's gonna get, let's see if he does the stick strats on Lesser Dog. So you can speed up the Lesser Dog fight right here. So he's gonna get the Snowman piece first. So this is for safety later on in the run. He's grabbing the Snowman piece. See if he grinds for a Lesser Dog encounter. Nope, he doesn't. So it looks like he's going to get the Lesser Dog encounter on the bridge if he grinds on the bridge. I'm not sure what his normal strats are, but... Okay, yeah, he's grinding on the bridge. So he's gonna get Lesser Dog here. Let's see if he uses the stick. Using the stick would... Okay, he doesn't use the stick. Using the stick is actually slightly more optimal. Using the stick lowers Lesser Dog's defense by quite a lot. And not only does it actually, like, it actually skips one attack cycle and also makes it so you can mash a second to kill Lesser Dog. So it saves about probably 4 seconds overall using the stick. So right here, he's killing Doggeressa first. He's killing Doggeressa first because Dogame, which is the male dog in the dog marriage, his defense drops way down when you kill Doggeressa first. Whereas it doesn't happen that way if it's the other way around. Ooh, he missed a kill there. So you'll notice that when you're in genocide mode, ordinarily you'd have to do all these puzzles, like the face puzzle right there. This puzzle you also don't have to do. When you're in genocide mode, you don't have to do any of these puzzles.
In what categories would you need to do these puzzles?
Any other category that doesn't involve initiating genocide mode in order to complete it. So, for instance, anything besides, like, basically anything besides genocide or neutral glitchless. You'd have to do these puzzles. There's actually a cool little glitch you can do in that puzzle in the main categories, in the other main categories. But in neutral glitchless, you can just glide right over it, and it's already solved for you. Okay, so here's Greater Dog. Greater Dog will take 3 attacks. At the level he's at, it's actually impossible to two-hit Greater Dog. If he grinded for an extra level and got really high damage rolls, he could 2-hit Greater Dog, but it's not worth it. Okay, so now he's going to do... He has, I believe, 3 kills. Yeah, he has 3 kills. And he needs 16 total, so he's gonna do the remainder of his grinding in this room right here. But he needs to leave and come back first in order to actually make it so that encounters happen in this room. So now he's grinding. So you can get 2 different types of encounters in this part. You can get either doubles or triples. This is a triple, so you'll get a triple with Ice Cap, Snowdrake, and an enemy called Jerry. Or you'll get doubles with just Ice Cap and Jerry. So he's going to skip killing Jerry here, because Jerry is an absolute tank. Jerry takes 9 hits to kill, so he's just going to spare Jerry. You can spare in Genocide, contrary to popular belief. You just can't spare certain enemies, but you can spare Jerry, thankfully. Okay, so he's at 6 kills now. So he needs 10 more to get through the Snowden grind. So it's slightly more optimal to get doubles early. So you want doubles early, triples late, basically. So I believe he's at 8 now. After this, he'll be at 8. So he'll be trying to optimize the damage hits on ice caps. Ice caps have 48 HP. I'm not sure how much HP snow drakes have, to be honest. I should, but I don't. It's something close to like 80. Yeah, snowdrakes always take 2 hits. And as I usually do during runs as well, I have lost count of how many he's killed. It's something like 11. So he's getting into the part of the grind where he wants to get triples now. And if he gets unlucky, he'll have to actually kill Jerry if it's his last kill, if it's his last possible kill. Because if you're at 15 kills, if you're at 14 kills and you get a double, you're gonna want to kill Jerry, because that actually takes, even though he takes 9 hits to kill, he doesn't attack you back. So it's actually like, it's a little bit quicker to kill him. I think he's at 14 now, but I'm not positive. Hang on, I might be able to tell by how long it takes the music to play. Okay, yeah, he's definitely a 13. So that was actually a good encounter for him to get a triple. Actually, I'm not sure if he's at 12 or 13. I'm guessing 13. Doesn't seem like he'd be at 12. So let's see if he kills Jerry here. He is killing Jerry, so he was at 13. Okay. So you can see, Jerry has an absurdly high defense. So it takes just a long time to kill him, but he doesn't attack back. He's just there. He's just in the way. So now that he's killed Jerry, he finally has his 16, and he is advancing. Jerry is just a pest. Okay, and much like Toriel, he's going to be one-shotting Papyrus as well. And he'll be moving on to Waterfall. It'll be interesting to see what kind of strats he does in Waterfall, because there are a couple different strats he can do. A lot of people run from the air and kill the Washua. A lot of people run from both. Some people kill both. I personally prefer to run from both, but we'll see what Kasa does. You get kind of a long cutscene here.
what's happening story-wise right here?
Basically, the player is being introduced to Undyne, which is Undyne's the head of the Royal Guard, basically, and I mean, without getting too much into the lore of the game, basically there's this organization called the Royal Guard, and it swears to like eliminate all humans, basically, because of something that happened long ago that I won't get too much into in the underground. So Undyne is just trying to do her job. She also just flat out kind of hates humans. Okay, so he's running from the Aaron. And also running from the Washua. Okay. Good man. It's hard to say, honestly, whether or not, like, it could save you time or it could not, running from both those enemies, because they're both two-shot kills and they both take a while to kill. But they're free kills because they just happen along the way. So it's kind of hit or miss whether or not it saves time to actually kill them. Yeah, so this part right here, he's just trying to navigate his way through the, not necessarily navigate, but just get through this part without getting hit, or getting hit as little as possible by the spears that she throws at you. Each one takes about 3 seconds from you.
Yeah, it didn't look like much of a setback, just getting hit at once there.
Nah. Yeah. It's funny because this category is really RNG heavy, so it doesn't seem to matter as much. It's funny how more RNG categories, or the less RNG a category has, the more important those little second time saves seem to be. But in a category like neutral glitchless, it doesn't seem like that much of a time loss. It's all relative. So Waterfall will also be very different in genocide mode from what it is in neutral or pacifist mode. So he's going over here to get the ballet shoes, which will turn enemies like Washua and Moldbig from 2-hit kills into 1-hit kills. And it's definitely worth it, especially with Undyne the Undying as the boss coming up. So the ballet shoes make Undyne a lot easier. So that's pretty RNG. That encounter right there, you can get one of a few different encounters, and solo Washua is not bad. So now he has 3 kills. He needs 18 total before he leaves Waterfall. So fun fact, there are a couple of enemies in Waterfall, actually throughout the game, that if you run from them, you will abort genocide. Shiren's one of them. Glad Dummy is also one of them. Basically, any monster that can be considered a mini-boss. Shiren is, for whatever reason, considered a mini-boss. So are the dogs in Snowden. Doggo, Dog Marriage, and Greater Dog.
So I know you explained this earlier a bit, but what exactly takes you into genocide mode and what takes you out of genocide mode?
Basically, each area has a certain amount of kills that you need to get.
Right.
And once you get that amount of kills, there's a flag set in the game for the area having been done in genocide mode, basically. So For instance, in the ruins, it was 20 kills. It all starts in the ruins. So if you get 20 kills in the ruins, you'll start to get those empty encounters. They say, but nobody came in English, and you will have initiated genocide mode, and then you can one-shot Toriel, and then it'll follow you into Snowden. But if you kill any less, even 19 instead of 20, it'll be you won't take genocide in Snowden, and you won't be able to one-shot Toriel.
Okay, so you have to continue to do that from area to area
yes.
to kill the threshold number of enemies. Okay.
Yep. So he'll be in genocide mode up until Hotland, and then he'll start running from enemies, and he'll abort genocide. But he'll still be able to one-shot Mettaton Neo. So this area is really interesting, actually, because you can manipulate where these spears appear. It's kind of AI manipulation. So the spears don't take into account which direction Frisk is actually traveling. They take into account what arrow directions you're holding on your keyboard. It doesn't look like he's actually doing the manipulation. Yeah, he's not doing the manipulation. So you can hug a wall, basically. So you can hug the southern wall there, for instance, and they will all just try to appear below you. Whereas if you just walk in a normal direction without doing that, they will appear all around you, and it makes them a little harder to avoid. But he made it through okay, so it's fine. And I see a question in chat. Does the weird walking count as a glitch? No, it does not. There are a couple of glitches in this category that we just kind of allow because they're way too easy to do. For instance, all you have to do to spaz on the wall like that is just hold up and down up against the northern wall. So it's an up and down glitch, which you can do. So it's not like a console game where you can't hold left and right regularly, where you can't hold up and down regularly to cause some glitches to happen. But on keyboard, it's perfectly, and there's nothing stopping you from doing that. Basically, it's just way too easy to do. Plus, it's not really that significant of a thing, the way we see it. Okay, so he is currently at 6 kills with that Temmie. And he has 18 total, so he'll be doing his grinding. Let's see where he does his grinding. I'm interested to see. He can either do it in this room. Okay, nice. You got the one shot in the mold big. That one shot can be a little bit tricky.
How close to the center do you have to be to get the optimal hit? Is there some leeway?
It depends on the weapon you're using, actually. So with the ballet shoes, like he's using now, there's a 2-frame window to get it directly in the middle. With weapons like the burnt pan or the empty gun, which he'll be getting later, it's a frame perfect hit to get it directly in the middle.
If we see that line on the black bar in the center, does that mean he definitely got it, or could it still be like a pixel off and we can't tell?
It'll flash red.
Oh, all right.
So you'll see it flash red if he gets it directly in the middle.
All right. So the first of those 3 hits was a perfect one.
Yes.
And the second of those hits was okay. I'm starting to see it now.
Yep. And it's not really that significant of a difference with the ballet shoes. But once you get to the weapons with 4 cursors, if you get every hit in the middle frame perfectly, it does essentially double the damage.
I think he just did that,
So it's
right?
really... Yeah, he just did that with the ballet shoes, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference with the ballet shoes. Ooh, that was bad luck. He caught a bad damage roll there. So he left Moldbig with 1 HP exactly. Moldbigs have 70 HP. I've lost count of how many he's killed. I've given up trying to do that.
Yeah, I wasn't counting it either.
I was too busy explaining the mechanics.
Right. What frame rate does this game run at?
It runs at 30.
Oh, okay.
So thankfully, frame perfect hits aren't like you're not trying to get 4 frame perfect 60 FPS hits in a row.
Right.
So it's manageable. It's not like it's reasonable to do, but it's still not easy to get all 4 and directly in the middle. Especially since the patterns are random that you get for the cursors that come through, so they're not the same every time. They're differently spaced each time. So I'm not sure if he's completed his kill quota or if he still needs to grind. Yeah, he still needs to grind for, I'm guessing, 2 more or 1 more.
Does it actually slow you down in these mini games when you get hit?
In the mini games? Oh, no. Unless you die, then it takes time. But or if you have to heal or something, then it'll waste a turn.
I see.
But generally, you can take a lot of damage before you die in this category. It's different in categories. Well, in neutral and pacifist, you don't really battle a lot of things at all. But in this category, you battle a lot of things, but you have a ton of health. Okay, so coming up is the battle with Undyne. And I think that battle is just gonna speak for itself a little bit. There's not much really to explain other than the fact that it's basically DDR. If he does well enough with the hits, though, he can get a so-called quick kill, which is basically just ending the turn one turn short of what is normally done on the Genocide Undyne battle, but it's pretty precise to get. I think you need to miss 12 or less cursors total, and it's like a 13 turn fight or something, or 12 turn fight. So he attacks Monster Kid to initiate the battle. Okay, so the battle starts off slowly but picks up pretty quickly. This is the first really legitimate fight in the entire run. This and Asgore are the only legitimate fights in the run, and for Asgore you have a ton of HP for Asgore, so it's I think 72 HP, if memory serves, something close to that. So the hits he's getting are a little bit suboptimal. So he's just a little bit off the middle with most of the cursors. That one he got a gold hit. So you'll see gold hits around the 1600s. You'll see the misses around 1500s, and you'll see perfect hits getting up over 1700. these attacks, like, every runner has a different... For that particular attack, the circular spears one, every runner has a different method of avoiding those spears. And I kind of like Kasa's. It's pretty simple. Mine is not simple. Mine goes all over the place, but it works. It's all about what works for the specific runner. Those yellow arrows when you first run the game, or when you first play the game, can be really tricky. They're just confusing. They're just visually confusing. So I believe this will be the last attack that he has to avoid before Undyne dies. There might be one more, actually. Yeah. Ooh, this attack gets difficult once it gets going. Looks like he's got a pretty good handle on it, though.
Yeah, this looks pretty tricky.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, he's... yeah.
Dead now.
Nice.
That sigh of relief that you see there on the camera.
Well, he did pretty well. He only took one hit, it looks like. He only took one hit from the entire battle.
Yeah, it was in one of the spinny shield sections, I think. Yep. I saw him hit by an arrow.
Okay, so now the Undyne fight is done. He will not be killing any enemies in the Hotland, actually, except for it's more optimal to kill the royal guards than it is to spare them. Sparing them takes forever. You can't run from them. You also notice, I completely forgot to mention this, in the ruins, he bought an item called the Spider Donut, and he saved it until now. He's going to use that Spider Donut to basically completely skip the Muppet fight. And that, you only buy that in Neutral Glitches too. Neutral Glitches is more of a throwback run than anything to before Punch Card was found. And it's actually really easy. If you don't configure your menu correctly, it's really easy to eat the Spider Donut accidentally. I have great memories of that personally. I forgot about TPE glitches. Yeah, you get the donut and TPE glitches as well. Okay, so notice he ran from the Vulcan there. So he's aborting genocide now. Ooh, looks like he's going to get the burnt pan. Yeah, he's going to get the burnt pan. So you can choose between the burnt pan and the empty gun here. The pan takes longer to get, and this is the weapon he's going to be using for Asgore. You either use the pan or the gun for Asgore, depending on your personal preference. Gun does more damage, but it's easier to get good hits with the pan, and it's up to the runner, I guess. But it looks like Kasa prefers the pan. And I can very much relate to that. Being a pacifist runner, basically using the pan for the majority of my time running this. So he's killing the royal guards because sparing them takes forever. Sparing them is 2 turns plus a really long cutscene at the end of the battle. So killing them is just the obvious choice there. By about a minute. So if we go on to left 4-3, there we go. And again, these puzzles are all solved for you since, well, you begin Hotlands in Genocide mode. Hotland, excuse me, not Hotlands. Do not call it Hotlands. I apologize for doing that. So it begins in Genocide mode, but once you abort it, like all the puzzles are still solved for you. I'm gonna be kicking myself for the rest of the day calling it Hotlands. Stop moving, stop moving, stop moving, stop moving. So for Muffet, he's using the spider donut. Oh, did he miss? I think he mismenued. There we go. Okay, and Muffet is just instantly spareable after using the spider donut. You can also kill Muffet if you forget to get the donut, for instance, or eat it. And it takes like maybe 25 or so seconds longer, which is still pretty significant. So now he's just going to go straight to Metaton Neo. The elevator works, and he can just go straight to Metaton Neo. And guess what? Metaton Neo is a one-shot kill. No matter what. So now he'll say something about you holding back, and that he can tell that deep down you're a really nice person, something like that. And Genocide is now officially aborted. Actually, Genocide was officially aborted once you spared Muffet. Okay, so then it's just Asgore and Flowey. If you haven't seen Flowey, yeah. I won't say anything about it. Flowey's pretty, it's a pretty unique boss, to say the least. They might do a variation. I'm not sure. So okay, so yeah, he has saved. I was wondering if he had saved. Because if you don't save, fun fact, if you don't save, you get extra text on Flowey. So you want to save at least once in the run. It's actually more optimal to save at least once, or else Flowey will say something about how he would destroy your save file, but you were too stupid to make one. So you want to save at least once so he doesn't say that, because it's like 3 seconds longer of a text box. So these are just a bunch of unskippable dialogues. This is called Monster Tale. And basically these monsters are telling the story of the underground and the story of the Prince of the Underground. And stuff like that. There's nothing you can do in neutral glitchless to skip these. You can skip 2 of the encounters in glitchless, in categories other than glitchless with the punch card. So you can run past one of those encounters with punch card, you can use text storage to skip another one. Unfortunately, in glitchless, you cannot skip any of these. This is the fastest glitchless run, yes. And like I said earlier, this is not the fastest neutral run, but it's the fastest glitchless neutral run. So with glitches, this run can be about 8 minutes faster. But it uses a completely different route, which is pretty cool. For a while, before the punch card strats, before the glitch strats were actually optimized, or before we found enough things with the punch card, the two categories were actually pretty competitive, which is really interesting. So, like, record at the time for neutral glitchless was about a 105, and the glitched was like a 104.30. So the two categories were actually pretty competitive, which was really fun. So when we had community races, runners would choose which route they would take: the RNG heavy route or the more execution heavy route. Yeah, I see the conversation going on in the chat. This game is amazing. It really is, to play casually, especially. So now he's going to get judged by Sans, and Sans is going to get mad, to say the least, that you killed his brother. And that's about all that's going on here. So this is the part where Sans basically says, okay, you made it this far. Now let's see what you've done throughout the run. So it takes into account who you've killed, who you haven't killed, what your love is, how many execution points you've had. It just kind of makes you reflect back on what you've done throughout the entire run. And yeah, you weren't a very nice person in this run. You killed basically almost everything that you saw. So Sans isn't too happy with you. Especially not that you killed Papyrus, his brother. That's about it here. Interesting that he's not doing multi-loading strats. You can actually multi-load on this category, which is basically having two instances of Undertale open at the same time, not necessarily active, but open. And you can do that in order to skip this text, actually. But he's not doing that. He says, he says something like, do you believe people can be good? And whatever, and you say yes, he's like, oh, then why did you kill my brother? And then he just leaves. It's pretty creepy. So this is Asgore. This is the first we see of Asgore in the entire run. Asgore is pretty easy in this category. So Asgore will go down without much of a challenge. As far as I'm concerned, the Japanese community, there isn't really much of a Japanese running community for this game. At least not yet. There probably will be once the Japanese patch comes out. But as far as I'm concerned, there's not really a different rule set. There can't be, really. Okay, so that starts the battle of Asgore. It was 80, not 72. Okay, I'm stupid. And since he's at level 16, in neutral and pacifist runs, well, in neutral you fight Asgore at level 4. In pacifist you fight Asgore at level 1, making it significantly more challenging. But in this category, you fight Asgore at level 16, so Asgore isn't much of a challenge. You can get hit a lot. So you can see there he got a triple gold. So we got pretty significantly higher damage roll. If he gets a perfect hit, he'll do upwards of almost 500 damage. Do like 480, I think. Avoiding these attacks, Asgore just takes practice. His attacks are actually the same order every time until a certain point, but we never actually reach that point. So he's doing pretty okay with these hits. Yeah, basically the battle just kind of speaks for itself here. There's nothing really noteworthy about the battle other than trying to optimize damage hits and just not dying. Yeah, some of these attacks can be really confusing at first once you get used to them. Like, just, again, visually confusing, just like the yellow arrows on Undyne. Like, they sway back and forth, and they're just generally pretty, just, again, visually confusing. But once you get used to them, they're simple to avoid. Okay, and so begins Whoa, what? What is going on?
Yeah, looks like we have a...
Oh, okay, he switched to windowed mode. That makes sense. He switched to windowed mode so he can close the game, or so that he can start a new game. So Flowey just completely annihilates your save file there. It doesn't hold much significance to the run, but it can pack a punch if you're playing the game casually, that's for sure.
Alright, so what was the purpose of switching into window mode there?
Oh, okay, so the purpose of switching to windowed mode was that he could have a slightly more optimal load by beginning to open another game, because Flowey crashes your game there.
Intentionally?
Yes. It's an intentional mechanic of the game for the game to crash there. So what he did was he switched to windowed mode so that he could access his menu for the game before the game actually closed itself, so he could have a slightly more optimal load to load the game back up. And my assumption is that he's going to be doing that again, because 2 more times, again, I'm assuming 2 more times here, the game will be closing and reopening, like throughout this fight.
Wow, that is really unusual. Just intentionally crashing the game. It's very meta.
Well, that's the only part right there that actually where the game actually crashes. But he'll be intentionally closing the game to skip some cutscenes and then reopening it.
Wow, the art style changed a lot right here.
Yes. So this is why they call it Photoshop Flowey.
And that creepy TV up top.
Yes. Fun fact, that TV and the faces it's showing is actually the face of the creator of the game, Toby Fox. Just altered, to say the least. Okay, so the Flowey battle consists of 6. It consists of 2 phases, one with 6 segments, or 6 segments and 6 sub-segments, basically. So he's already completed the first segment and the first sub-segment. So after each main segment like this, there will be something called the soul segment, which you can't actually die during. He can die during this, but it takes a lot of hits for him to die. So this fight is basically designed to look impossible, whilst not actually being impossible. It's actually one of the easier fights in the game. It's just designed to look really difficult and designed to look crazy and designed to spook you, basically. So during these parts, the only thing you need to worry about really is hitting the act button as optimally as you can there. So the act button on that phase appears in the same spot every time. So you notice a text at the bottom left. Flowey is actually saving and loading save states on you. So essentially Flowey is like an entity. Basically Flowey is the game, you could say. So you're battling against the game right now, essentially, and Flowey is using the game to its advantage to save and load save states on you and try and kill you that way. So that text says like save state 3 saved, save state 3 loaded, etc.
Those fires that come off the bottom of the screen, those are great.
So here the act button is going to come from the second row from the top. It's RNG, it's completely RNG which side it comes from. So let's see if he decides to try and jump the gun. Nope, he chilled in the middle. He did what I do, basically. So it's a reaction strat rather than a guess which side strat. It's only like a second either way.
These save states.
Yep. So you can see like the game just kind of cuts randomly. That's not the stream juddering. That's the game.
Is this a TAS?
Flowey's TAS.
watch out for the bacon grease.
Bacon grease can be pretty hot sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is notable to say that these parts can't actually kill you. The parts with where the TV has the heart on it instead of the beautiful face. I should also note that speedrunners are just completely, like, I know those who are seeing this fight for the first time are probably like are flipping out. Speedrunners are completely desensitized to the fight, and it's just like a normal fight. Okay, so if I could get permission, so he just closed the game there, and he's reloading to skip a cutscene that where yeah, so he's reloading now. And Flowey's defense dropped to 0. It drops to 0 normally in the cutscene, and now it's fine. If I can get permission from chat to just, I think it'll happen by itself. Actually, I won't say anything. But yeah, it's customary to spam a certain thing during this part of the fight. Let me participate at least a little bit. So this is the final phase of the Flowey fight. So basically this part of the fight consists of just hitting the fight button as soon as you can. Just kind of like it's a little more optimal to stay near the middle, which can make it a little bit interesting. But as long as you get all the healing items, it's fine, basically. Again, I didn't mention this. At full health, it takes 14 hits to any object to die, like before you actually die to something. And the way the health works during this part is each time you get hit, the health bar depletes by a certain percentage of what your health actually is. I think it's 33%. So it depletes by a third each time until you reach a certain point, and then you just die. But it takes 14 hits to die. And each health power up that he's getting, you can see the green things falling from the top of the screen, or from the mouth, basically. Those restore your health significantly. So that's basically the run. You can see people clapping. That's basically the run. Yeah, now stop with the spam. I apologize if that was too much, but that's just kind of customary in any Undertale speedruns chat when that part of the fight comes up. People generally know when to stop, though. So he's tucked really closely up to the pellets there. For whatever reason, the hitbox doesn't register when the pellets aren't moving, but when they are moving, it hits you. So that's just the most optimal way of handling that situation right there. So they just hit you as soon as they would have started moving. So the last thing he's gonna do is he's gonna kill Flowey. He's gonna stroll over to fight and kill Flowey, but he's gonna do that before the menu actually pops up. Actually, let's see if he does that. So he's switching to windowed mode here, so that he can close and reload optimally, because he's gonna skip some dialogue from Flowey. As soon as Flowey says "I," he can close the game.
And I like how the icon for this game is placed right over the heart of the skeleton in the background, too. I just noticed that the last time.
Okay, he's actually not skipping the cutscene. Oh. Or now he is. Okay.
Yeah, now he is.
And he just walks up to the door. And time. There's the run. 1:11:08 looks like. So yeah, that was Undertale Neutral Glitchless by Kasa-Nezumi. I guess I'd like to conclude the commentary by saying that if anybody's interested in learning this game, we have a very, very open community. It is an awesome community, and anybody's welcome to come and learn. Just visit speedrun.com/Undertale, and we have a lot of people there and a lot of resources there that will be very helpful if you are interested in learning. So yeah, give it a shot. It's a good speedrun, especially the glitch categories. Those are really fun as well. But there's something for everybody. If you like glitches, it's great. If you don't like glitches, it's also great. So yeah, give it a shot. I'm TGH, and thank you guys for listening and for watching.
All right, thank you very much for joining for commentary.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, we've got TGH's Twitch there in the chat. TGH_plays. Hope that's right. And
yep, that's right.
Okay. And the runner has a Twitter account. We don't actually have the runner's. Nope, never mind. That was not for this one, was it? Oh yeah, no, it is. That's his Twitter. Yep. Yeah, so this is the Twitter for the runner right there. We don't have a Twitch account for this guy, but we do have this Twitter. Coming up next, we've got Ark the Lad. That's our next game. Just trying to see if we managed to get a commentator for it.
Alright, so I'll just be headed out.
Okay, great. Thanks for being here.
Good luck with the rest of the marathon. Thanks again for inviting me to commentate. I really appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
Alright. Peace out. See you.
Well, it looks like they took their stream offline for a moment. Let me just see if it was... No, it's offline right here. So I guess they're doing some sort of switching here. So if you're just joining us or have just joined us recently, this is the RTA in Japan Marathon. It's a speedrun event being put on by the Japanese speedrun community. They're streaming to twitch.tv/RTA in Japan. You see that URL right there on the screen. And we're doing an English language restream right here. This event is going to be lasting the rest of today and all of tomorrow as well. So we're really only about maybe 6-7 games into it. 8 games into it so far. So it's pretty much just started. Yeah, but there's the schedule link right there in the chat. After Ark the Lad, this is going to be a 3-hour run. Ark the Lad's a long one. And it's going to be followed by Valkyrie Profile, Final Fight Double Impact, and a game whose name translates to Ear of the Golden Dragon. That's one I've never seen before. That'll be interesting to see. Then we've got some golf, and then we've got the Mario block, Mario 1, and then Lost Levels being played there. I think the Lost Levels, that's a 4-way race. Battle Dodgeball, and then Pokemon Red and Blue, and Pokemon Black 2, White 2 this evening. So quite a day ahead of us. So this is the first RTA in Japan marathon. This is the first time they've done it, although apparently the person who organized this has also organized a live speedrun event in the past, but I think this is the first one that's happened on this large scale.